you're definitely a feminist. Not a modern feminist, no. What do you mean, no? Feminism is about equality for women. Right, but modern feminism is about making the women superior to the men. What's wrong with that? They deserve what they get. Other than the fact that that is not the true definition of what a feminist is, that is discrimination against somebody's gender, which is a protected class. And it'd be easier if we just fought for actual equality and ended the vicious cycle.
What pisses me off about some women is there's a double standard when it comes to accountability. Y'all will hold a man accountable for what he's done, but when it boils down to you, you can't even hold yourself accountable for how badly your actions have damaged a man. Honestly, I blame some of y'all toxic females for why men are the way they are, because you completely fucked this dude's perception of love and trust up, that when he actually does come across a good woman, he can't even fully appreciate her because in the back of his mind, he's thinking this is too good to be true. He can't even lean back on his own intuition because that same intuition failed him into believing that you were a good person, that you were safe, that he can open up to you and he can trust you when in reality he couldn't. And you know what he ends up doing? He ends up self-sabotaging and ends up fucking up a good situation with a good woman that did nothing to him and had no bad intentions towards him. Now, don't get it fucking twisted either. I'm not sitting here saying that a damaged man should get involved with the female. You should not get involved with anybody if you are not healed. Because let me tell you, we are not Bob the Builder. I can't fucking fix you. You need to fix yourself. You need to heal yourself from that damaged situation that you were in. Good women should not have to sit there and pick up some fucking pieces that we didn't break. We shouldn't have to put you together when we didn't take you apart. I'm just saying, toxic women should take accountability of the bullshit they do.
Men are not encouraged or told to essay women. I don't know where this idea comes from, but in the same way that you go buy a firearm as a preventative measure to protect yourself in case somebody breaks into your house, regardless of the fact that criminals are constantly told not to break laws, you can't control that person. It's the same way that women are told to take preventative measures so that they don't become victims of these people. Those men are constantly told not to essay women. They do it regardless. People who will break the law will break the law. Right? Especially in today's hypersensitive society, most men are told that literally everything is some type of sexual harassment or essay. If a man were to publicly confess to essay, he would be condemned by society and go to jail, as he should. But when a woman like Cardi B publicly confesses to drugging and assaulting men, women sit there in the comment section and encourage this type of behavior. There's a double standard. So I'm tired of people acting like victims.
We need to stop praising men for doing the bare fucking minimum.
You wanna call me a fucking bitch? Really? Call me a fucking bitch one more fucking time. One more fucking time. See if
Of course I saw this video and I have two things to say to women who do this. First of all, why are you trying to start a fight that you would not win? I've never understood women who do this because you're trying to instigate a situation that you would lose in. You're inviting this man to fight you with the you want to go and the puffing out your chest. What is the purpose? You would not win. Second of all, this is incredibly unsafe. People will argue with me on this, but one of the privileges allotted to women in society is the collective understanding and agreement that men should not hit them. Primarily due to the size and strength differences between men and women. It would be an unethically unfair, cruel scenario. Kind of like taking advantage of that privilege and collective agreement and using it to provoke men. But I digress. Ladies, please remember that not all men will allot you that grace. Do not put yourself in dangerous situations because you're angry and think that men can't hit you. Because there are men who will. Unfortunately. Obvious general takeaway is just stop doing this. It's unfair to both parties and wildly inappropriate.
The thing that pisses me off about women is that y'all want men to be sensitive, but then when a man shows that side of himself, you call him a bitch or you call him weak. Y'all do realize that men have feelings too, right? Y'all understand they're not robots. They have emotions too, but they bottle that shit up inside of them because they're afraid that if they show that part of them, that they're gonna get called weak or they're gonna get called a bitch. So I've heard females be like, oh my God, he's so emotional, he's so sensitive. And y'all wonder why these men are emotionally closed off. Like, guys hurt too. But like, when they're hurting, it's hard as fuck for them to even actually show that side of themselves. Because you know what? Who the fuck do they turn to? Can't turn to you because you out there making them feel less. Like, it's a goddamn crime for them to be human, to cry, to have emotions, to have feelings. You make them feel like a bitch when they're not a bitch. Okay? That's a real man right in front of you, bruh. It's like guys are damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. If they don't show emotion, oh, he's such an asshole. What a dick. But if he does, oh, he's so emotional, so sensitive. Let me tell you something when it comes to men. Men have deep feelings. They probably hurt worse than us. They do. But it's so deeply embedded within themselves because they are taught as little boys that when they scrape their knee or they fall and they hurt themselves, suck it up. Get back up. Brush it off. That's what they're taught. They're not taught to be emotional the way us women are. So when a man shows that emotional side of him, please do not take that lightly.
All right, fellas, listen up and listen good. You don't need to be 6 foot. You don't need to have muscles. You don't need to have hair. Doesn't matter if you have chest hair or back hair or acne. It's okay if you have a dad bod. It's okay if you're skinny. Whether you're 5'6" or 6'2". Whether you bench 135, you don't bench at all, or you bench 315. If you're a dancer or a football player, if you have a desk job, or you're a construction worker, military men, you're on the fence. You're all wonderful, and I hope you have a great day. Keep your head up, kings.
All right, this one's for the boys. Have you been texting a new girl and you're wondering why she's not responding?
I could not finish watching this video to the end before stitching because honestly, I felt exhausted. I'm sorry, but good men are not going to spend the time to adjust themselves to such minute texting requirements. A boy that likes to play games, on the other hand. But which one do you want, ladies?
Merriam-Webster describes a patriarchy as the legal dependence of wives and children on the father of the clan. Now, if we put on our thinking caps and we take a good look at American culture today, it becomes very apparent that the USA is not a patriarchy. Especially given the fact that women are legally responsible for themselves and hold high positions of power in politics, law, and business. And especially when women outnumber men in most college campuses, are more likely to get hired for jobs, and are twice as likely to avoid jail. That doesn't really sound like a patriarchy now, does it? Welcome back to Why the USA is Not a Patriarchy, starring the second definition here, that says a society or institution organized by the principles or practices of patriarchy. Now, if you were to look into this, you would soon realize that there are no set, agreed-upon principles or practices of patriarchy, which makes evaluating them somewhat complicated. So I'm going to go through some of the feminist scholars' best guesses as to what those principles and practices are, starting with Sylvia Wallaby's Structures of Patriarchy, which includes the wage gap, housework, porn, domestic abuse, and capitalism. I have other videos debunking the wage gap, but here are some articles if you'd rather read. Moving on to the housework argument, which says that because men spend less time doing indoor housework than women do, men must be part of the oppressor class. What this source fails to take into account is that men work longer hours generally, meaning that they are home less to do housework. It's important to consider the idea that just because someone spends more time doing a chore doesn't mean they're actually doing more work. And if you read the fine print here, it says travel-related activities are not included, meaning if a guy drives to McDonald's and picks up a burger and goes home, he's spent 0 time preparing food. I know you feminists don't like to acknowledge this, but men are faster at running, working, driving, reading, sleeping, and reacting in general. Men even eat faster than women. So women spend more time than men do preparing food and eating it, and it looks like they spend more time than men do on virtually everything else too.